Hey everybody, this is Kip from America Bumper to Bumper, here for the next episode of Car Chat with Kip. Today we're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff that we were going to do before. Hopefully next week we might have a special guest. Right, Dan?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Anyways. So we're going to start off, we're going to go through upcoming videos and where you can see them. And then we'll get into some car news, and maybe I'll throw in a fun story. At least I think it's fun. Whatever. So, as you guys have probably seen on the YouTube channel, we did 4 videos of the rally sprint that I went and did some videography for with chicane cars. Those 4 are the only ones that are gonna be uploaded to YouTube. The rest of them are all gonna be on Facebook. And then I'm also gonna start, getting into the next show, or next bit of content, which will be on YouTube. Will be the final autocross, the Sports Car Club of Vermont's autocross for the year. That was September 23rd. So we'll be doing, I think it's 7 videos on that. Let me just do a double check on that. Yeah, 7 videos on the autocross, and that's gonna do it for autocross for this year. And then the final bit of content that I'm gonna have, new content or video content is going to be the Autumn Leaves car show that was in Granville, New York on September 30th. So beyond that, we had a couple of car things that happened in October, but if you guys have been following this for a while, you know that I am... Seamus, come on! I'm unemployed, and which means I have very little money to spend on going to car shows. So that was it. So I'm gonna try pulling together. Oh, another thing that we still have. I do still have the Lotus Elise video. This is one I'm really trying my absolute hardest. I've said this before, to have it as good as I possibly can get it. It's a great car. It's well worth putting in the time and money. And this is my daughter Grayson. She is the one that's responsible for a lot of the pictures that you're seeing on Instagram. Not only the postings, but also the pictures themselves. She is, in my opinion, very talented behind the camera, and so I'm very happy. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you. So, special guest. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna do. We've got the Lotus video that still has to come out. I might pull together. Try to do that resurrect kill thing that I tried to do last winter, but never got around to. I might do some best ofs again. So we're gonna get you content. Who knows? May have to do another hiatus in February like I did last year, but I hope not. Hopefully we'll find some content to keep this thing going. There is Sports Car Club of Vermont does ice time trials out on the ice. If I can get to some of those, I will. Yeah, so that's kind of the update on the channel and whatnot. I may do a video of, very short video of putting Zelda to bed for the winter. I will probably do a video, kind of a review of our other car that we have that has been sitting at a repair shop for the past few days, getting a used transmission put into it. That's a 2011 Buick LaCrosse. And what makes that one very interesting, which is not really, it is a 4-cylinder car, which they, didn't do a lot of them. They most of those are the 3.6 liters. But anyways, we'll get into that. We'll do a video on that. I'm gonna try talking to some of the car dealerships in the area and see if I can borrow a car or two and maybe do some more videos that way. With winter coming, maybe I'll be able to get my hand on one of the new Chevy, 2019 Chevy Silverado pickups. Either way, I'll find something. We'll have content. All right. Now we're going to get into some news. First up, I found this story on Jalopnik. It's really great. If you're looking for a car and want to go north of the border to get it, you could get hundreds of brand new cars that the Canadian government bought for the G7 political summit that happened in the summer. So the story goes that the Canadian government bought hundreds of brand new Chrysler 300s, Suburbans, and other cars. And now they don't need them, and they are trying to offload them. Now, the catch with this car, with these cars, is that you have to buy 5 at a time. Yeah, 5 of them. Now, the price that they're looking for the 300s is just about 25,000 Canadian, which comes out to about 19 grand in US money. So you need to spend $100,000, but you can get yourself 5 black Chrysler 300s. They are not Hemi cars; they're the V6 cars, but they've got 140 300s, 154 Chevy Suburbans, 109 Toyota Sienna minivans, and 28 Dodge Chargers. All of these were motorcade cars. They aren't perfect because bumpers have holes in them from LED, flashing LEDs. But they also have Explorers, Escapes, Mitsubishi Outlanders, Dodge Journeys, and Rogues also for sale. So if you want to get more information on how you can own one of these, head over to Jalopnik's website. It is right on their front page at this moment. Next up, this is Autoblog. Chevy Colorado is going to be adding 2 special editions for 2019. They are going to be the street-focused RST model and a off-road focused Z71 Trail Runner. Now, looking at the pictures of the Trail Runners next to the ZR2, it's a toned down version of the ZR2. It's got a few of the things from the ZR2, but it's not as capable off road. So if you are interested in a 2019 Chevy Colorado, you have a couple more option packages to look through when you go and buy them. Let's see if it gives the pricing on these, but nope. But I'm sure you can get that off of Chevy's website. All right. This is from Motor1.com. Cadillac files trademark for cool Blackwing V8 engine logo. Back in September, we learned that Seamus. Hey. Quiet, please. Sorry about that. Cadillac has a 4.2 liter twin turbo V8 christened Blackwing, and such names for engines aren't entirely uncommon. Ford has the EcoBoost and the Coyote. Then you've got the Hellcat. But the picture for the sorry guys. There we go. They've patented that black wing uh, thing for use on cars that will have the 4.2 twin turbo. On other Cadillac news, what do you guys think of the so-called? Do you guys think that the new mid-engined car that GM has been going around the Nürburgring with, do you think it's going to be a Corvette or do you think it's going to be a Cadillac like the photo of the key fob shows? Personally, I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be kind of like the XLR that Cadillac tried to have as their halo back, was it early 2000s? I think there's going to be one that will be, a Cadillac, and it's going to be, more luxurious. And then I do believe there's going to be a, another Corvette mid-engined. It will be mid-engined. It's not going to have, it definitely won't have the 4.2, twin turbo that, the Cadillac's going to have. But I think they're going to be two cars. They're going to be two very unique stylings, and that's all I guess. All right. We have a recall notice. This is from Consumer Reports. Subaru Legacy and Outback are going to be recalled for incorrect fuel range. Subaru is recalling 228,000 plus Legacy sedans and Outback wagons from the 18 model range due to concerns that software error may prevent the low fuel warning light from illuminating as intended, leaving you stranded. Bummer. Yeah, that's needing a recall for that. That's interesting. But then again, when you've got the government involved, everything's possible. Anyways, Subaru is telling owners that they should keep at least a half a tank of fuel in their car until the repairs are completed. But if they're not showing correctly, how will you know if you've got a quarter of a tank in there? Just a question. Just throwing that out there. So anyways, if you got 2018 Legacy or Outback, go have it checked out, see if you're part of that recall. Another recall that I found, the Kia Stinger is being recalled over fire risk. Only 16,000 of them, though. 16,011 to be exact, 2018 Stinger hatchbacks, because of faulty wiring that could lead to a fire. Wires in the engine and passenger compartments can get damaged if they rub against a rough patch of the vehicle's left fender. Kia, why didn't you do your homework and make sure that you didn't have a rough patch where wires could rub against and fray and then catch fire? Anyways, if you own a 2018 Kia Stinger, go have that checked out. See if your car is part of the recall. Or if your car mysteriously burst into flame. Probably was. Let's see what else we got. The NHTSA is investigating 1.7 million SUVs over faulty windshield wipers. An already big recall could soon get a whole lot bigger. And an NHTSA said Thursday it is investigating whether or not to recall an additional 1.7 million GM Sport utility vehicles due to faulty windshield wipers. In August of 2016, GM recalled 400,000 Equinox and GMC Terrains due to the wiper issue. The affected vehicles, the ball joint in the wiper can corrode, leading to the failure of one or both wipers. Obviously, not good. But now they are, and the NHTSA could expand the recall to another 1.7 million vehicles. They're looking at that, and it could, let's see. Originally, the recall only affected vehicles from 2013. This could affect anything from 2010 to 2016. So if you have a Equinox or Terrain, Chevy Equinox or Terrain from 2010 to 2016, you may be getting some recall notice for your vehicle. Sorry, I had to close that screen. All right, what do we got next? Volvo is changing production plans due to the U.S.-China tariff war. As is from Motor Trend, just as production of the S60 sedan is launched at the $1.1 billion Volvo plant in Ridgeville, South Carolina, near Charleston, the Swedish automaker is making changes of to what is built where because of the U.S. trade war with China. I didn't realize where it had been upgraded to a war, but okay. Fewer, if any, S60 mid-size sedans will be exported from South Carolina to China, where they could be slapped with a 40% tariff. Bummer. The S60 will still be exported to Europe and other markets. Volvo is owned by a Chinese company, the Geely Group. So this is kind of an interesting sort of thing. So whether they're going to start producing these cars in China is probably a good bet. All right. We already talked about the key fob for the C8 / Cadillac, car. If you guys haven't seen pictures of that, it's in media outlets all over the place. If you're a car person, the drive, I've seen it in a couple of videos. Brink of Speed, I believe, is the name of the channel. Anyways, history. There we go. And yeah, yes, Brink of Speed had a really good video on it. I'll try to link his video in there, talking about the key fob. Oh, maybe it wasn't him. Scroll through, make sure. Oh, I think he talked about it, but also full throttle drive is another one that talked about the key fob leak. So drop your comments in the below whether you think the cars that they've been shuttling around the Nürburgring and have had so many other spy shots taken of them. Do you think those are? Do you think it's going to be a Cadillac? Do you think it's going to be a Corvette, or do you think both? As I said earlier, my theory it's going to be both. I also think that they're going to keep the C7 production going for a short period of time, maybe a year or two. I think a lot of people are going to jump on board with a mid-engine Corvette, but I think there's still a market for the front-engine car. And if GM were really smart, they would have the C7 running, in production the same, time as the C8. And then by 2020, 2021, something like that, upgrade the C7 to a C7, 7.1 or something, upgrade it to the next generation of the front engine, Corvette. And then you still have the mid-engine Corvette. I think there's a lot of people that would, I think they could sell just as many. Definitely, it's going to be a hot ticket item if they do the mid-engine Corvette. Well, we know they're going to do it. They just haven't really said it. If it's good price, and it's got good quality materials for and it's got performance numbers close to a McLaren or the Huracan or even the Porsche 911. I think it's going to be a hit. But I do, as I said before, they've done enough um, engineering on the C7 chassis. It's really good from all the videos I've seen. I've still have to drive one, but myself. But I can just imagine from what you see out there. Um, I think it'd be silly for GM to kill the C7 right in at its peak. Anyways, yeah, throw comments in the down below and let me know what you think about the that whole prospect. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Yeah. All right. Now we're going to a story from motor1.com. It says, what's next for federal EV tax credits? Right now, they're set to phase out during 2019 the tax credits for Tesla with GM on its heels. Tax credits are about $7,500. It was enacted in 2010 to help spur the sales of electric vehicles. It was an Obama administration priority, but it was not a permanent thing. It's scheduled to phase out during the calendar year after an automaker sells 200,000 EVs. Tesla has already reached that milestone. And if you don't take delivery of a Model S, X, or a Model 3 by the end of this year, you will not get the full credit. The credits drop from the 7,500 down to 3,750 on cars sold between January 1 and June 30th. And then they are reduced to just under $1,900 from July to December of 2019. GM is expected to have their 200,000th EV sold somewhere in the 2019 calendar year too. So they'll have that same sort of thing. They might have it extended for another year. Hey, what's up, guys? What else do we have on here? Audi A4s, I think are great cars. They aren't my bread and butter type of car, but they're great cars for the people that can afford to buy them. I think there are other cars that, for the money, I would probably buy before an Audi A4. Probably, well, then again, not many of the new luxury cars I would be buying right now. I don't think styling of a lot of the new cars is, of course, subjective, but I don't think that styling for BMW, Audi, or Mercedes is really that great right now. I'd much rather spend my money on a early 2000s version of the cars. Just get a really nice one, because I think they looked better, and I think that they were just as nice. But anyway, so that's a thought on the Audis. Right, so yeah, federal tax credits. Yeah, thank you for posting on this. You are like the second person to third person to ever post questions on here, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, by the way. All right. Final news story is NBC Sports posted this. NASCAR, if you're into NASCAR, which not as many people are anymore. They're purchasing International Speedway Corp. And what is International Speedway Corp, do you ask? Let me scroll through the story and find out. All right, International Speedway Corp owns 12 tracks, including Daytona, Darlington, and Homestead, Miami Speedway. So NASCAR is looking to buy tracks, which is kind of an interesting prospect. You guys know, do they own other tracks? I don't. I don't know. I got out of NASCAR after Dale died. Oh, another cool thing. If you guys don't watch Joe Rogan's the podcast thing on YouTube, he what is the point of buying the tracks? Yeah, good question, Lillian Johnson. Just watch the actual today at work. Oh, cool. Yep. I'm not sure why. I think that they want more control over everything. I mean, NASCAR, like lots of other sports right now, is a dying sports. Everywhere dying. Baseball's dying. Football is going down the crapper. NASCAR has had problems with attendance for the past 10 years. I think they can buy them, and it's helping out the companies that own these tracks, because it costs them, I cannot imagine how many millions of dollars a year to keep these tracks up, and to do they make enough money to really do it? So NASCAR owning them, it gives NASCAR probably some tax advantages to be able to write off stuff. Anyways, yeah. Going back to Joe Rogan. The other day, Dale Jr. Was on as the guest, and I watched the whole thing, and it was a very interesting. It was he seems like a real down to earth guy. But the thing that was most interesting was he talked a lot about concussions, all the concussions that he's had. Hey, Connor Sherman, what's up? Not a whole lot right now. Thanks for joining in on the live stream. I really appreciate it. So anyways, Dale Jr. was, talked a lot about concussions and what led him to actually retire. So I found it really interesting. And if you guys are into NASCAR or into Dale, even if you aren't, it's really an interesting hour and a half to go over there. Would there be less of a liability thing going on with NASCAR? Yeah, probably. I don't know. Purchasing the tracks, yes, Lillian, that could be a very good possibility that they're buying it to lessen their the liability, of the other companies. Very honestly, I think it's probably a tax advantage thing. I mean, they've probably have some money, need to spend it before it gets taxed, and if they can write off the any losses that these tracks are pulling in, places are going to do that. What else has been going on? Kitten Cornball, thank you for joining in. Yeah, I'd take the money too. All right, so I'm trying to think of a story that I want to talk to you guys about car wise. I'll go with yeah. All right. First time ever really for me really going fast in a car. I'll start this story off by saying I am not a speed freak. I am kind of especially if I'm on the road, I am a nerd. I'll go 75, but I'm not gonna go 100 or whatever that Yeah, you are. Thanks. Anyways, Lily Ann Johnson is actually Delaney, who does some videos for the channel. Thank you for watching, by the way. Um, I back when I was doing auto tech when I'm in school for auto tech. Between the two years, you had to do um, 400 hours of an internship. The shop that I worked for, absolutely great shop, great bunch of people that worked there. It's Northern Motorsports. I did a video, one of my very first videos for this channel was from Northern Motorsports. Anyways, um, they are located in Wilder, Vermont. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Peanut Gallery. Anyways, the Northern Motorsports, like I say, great bunch of guys. It's a European specific. They'll work on anything, but really, it's a European specific shop. So, a couple weeks into it, of course, this is. I can't remember if I started in April before school is out or in May. Anyways, somebody brought a SL 500 Mercedes in, complaining about a tire shake. So they sent me out, said, for diagnosis, said, drive the car, see what you think, and then, come back and let us know. So went out there, and they had a really nice, route to, go around. You got some, bumpy roads. You got, interstate driving. It was, really a great, great setup from where they're located. So get up on the interstate, doing about 75, 80, and it was still shaking a little bit. So brought it back, parked it, and they're like, okay, what do you think? I'm like, it just feels like the tires are out of balance. So they said, well, did you drive out of the shake? And, being a new mechanic, even though I was 32 at the time, never had heard of driving out of the shake. So they're like, all right, you're going to go back out, you're going to drive, the car again, and you're going to drive it fast enough that the car doesn't shake anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. So go back out, get on the interstate. Well, let's just say that it stopped shaking a little north of 100, about 105 to be exact. And that was the fastest I've literally ever been in a car. I never told you that. Oh, come on. I had to have told you that story. Anyway, so I brought the car back. They said, what do you think? And it's like, I still think it's, tires are out of balance. They said, all right, well, rebalance the car. No, I remember something about a Porsche. Honestly, I've never driven, other than when I was very young, like 4 or 5. I haven't been in a modern Porsche. Looked at a lot of them, in these videos, but I've never actually driven or ridden in one. So anyways, we rebalanced the tires. The owner of the car was still not happy with the situation, and come to find out, or what we really expect or think it happened, is that the car sat over the winter with too low of air pressure in the tires, and they got flat spots, and that's what they were feeling. It's not the tires out of balance, but that 115 in a Kia Optima. Oh, sup, dude? Sup, guys? That's wow. I didn't think those things could go that fast. Congratulations. The next most fun thing that I've ever done in a car was back about 4 years ago. I was for a very short period of time. Oh, the turbo model. That would explain it. Yep, pretty cool. So a couple of years, 4 years ago, I was a salesman for a Toyota dealership, 802 Toyota, up in Berlin, Vermont. And that was around the time when at that point, new designed Camry was coming out. So they took us to Loudon, New Hampshire International Speedway. And, we got to do the road course there in that car, plus 4 or 5 other, competitor cars. Not a ton of, didn't get going really fast in it. I think maybe we hit 70. But that was a lot of fun doing that. We drove the Camrys, we drove the Siennas. Were coming out as a new body style, so we did the Siennas and the Camrys. Saw a few other things there, but that was a ton of fun, and that's the one thing I do absolutely miss about being a salesman, is doing that sort of stuff. The hours suck. And for me, the pay really sucked. Sold a fair amount of cars, but as a new salesman, you don't really make a ton of money. All right, so that's, I think, gonna do it for this. How fast does the old Lincoln go? The old Lincoln, probably not much over the 85. 40. Come on. Jeez. Yeah, it can go 40. It can go. No, but the Lincoln is not. It's not fast. I'm gonna say that it might do 110, 120. That's pushing it. That car, it is a Fox chassis car. It does have a 5-liter fuel injected 5-liter, but it's a throttle body. Those are only like 150 horsepower. I'm gonna see if I can find the exact numbers on that. 1984 Lincoln Continental. I found somewhere it had information on that. In their specs. Let's see if I can. Continental full range specs. There we go. Yeah, so 1984. Fuel performance in it. Okay. Did have, like I say, it's got a 302, the Ford 302. This is all. Come on. Computer, it's gotta love it. Of course, this is all in kilometers, so that doesn't make any sense to me. Hold on with me for a minute. I gotta ad blocker, is screwing up me looking at the site. Anyways, yeah, so it's a 302. Horsepower is about 140 horsepower. It's a 4-speed automatic. It's 0 to 100 in like 48 seconds. Top speed, it doesn't even give it a top speed. Drag time, a quarter mile. And this is brand new off the line. 18.4 seconds at 75 miles an hour. So it's not a speed mobile yet. I would love to do a lot of stuff to it to and a full tank of gas. Yeah, that's just about right, because it gets around town where we're living. We get roughly 13.5, something around that range of for fuel mileage. The best I have ever got was a long trip driving from Rutland, Vermont to Manassas, Virginia. Hi, Delaney. We averaged about 22 miles per gallon, and that was literally almost all of it was highway driving. So it's not terrible on gas when you're on the interstate, and because of the air suspension, the thing floats along and it's really great and comfortable. Around town, it really sucks. Like I say, 13, 14 miles per gallon. That car, thank God, we are getting the new, transmission done in our Buick, and Zelda can go up because tonight it's gonna sleet and potentially snow, so that car will not be good on the road, especially with the ball tires that it currently has. Anyways, thank you guys again very much. I really appreciate everyone that stuck around and watched the video. All the questions, I really, really, really appreciate it. I cannot thank you guys enough for throwing out the questions. If you don't think I answered anything very good, let me know in the comments, and I will find that information for you, and I'll either post a short video or actually official sup guys, that actually is already an airbag car. It from the factory came stock with air shocks or struts, whatever. So that's a possibility. If money was not an object, the car would be either one of two things: either switch out the factory air ride for like a bag riders system, or and really slam it down, have it nice, beautiful interior, have it just be as stock as possible, other than the 17 18-inch rims. Or the other thing which I've always leaned to is making it into a sleeper drag car. Bigger, better engine. I assume because the car is a Fox body car, excuse me, that the QA1 suspension system that goes on the Mustangs should go right into the Lincoln. Of course, do great, sounding like a Borla or Corsa, catback. Upgrade the suspension, real good, tires and rims on it, and autocross the hell out of it, or even drag race it. Of course, there's not a ton of drag strips around here within a easy driving distance, but hey, again, money no option. But right now, money is a huge option, and so that's kind of on the back burner. But all right, this is gonna do it. Thank you again, guys. Have a day. Hopefully, it's a good one.